Hello, my name is Mike Gross, and welcome to the Essentials of Shipping training. Today I'll be reviewing with you some of the basic terminology used in shipping so you understand the vernacular used in this industry. I will also review the typical shipping workflow. We're going to break down the common shipping methodologies. We're going to review the carriers that are available, discuss freight billing, carrier services options, value-added services that carriers provide, and we'll also provide an introduction to multi-carrier shipping systems. So let's start off with some basic shipping terminology. So what is a shipment? A shipment is an assortment or a collection of goods that are shipped together from the same point of origin to the same final destination. A shipper is the organization that initiates the transport of goods through one of many different available modes of transportation. The modes of transportation include ground, which is rail and truck, air, water, and pipeline, which probably not very commonly used or even heard of. As far as the most common originating mode of transport, that's going to be ground. And then, of course, this varies depending on where a shipper's facility is geographically located and what transportation infrastructure is nearby their facility. So if they're on the water or they're near a rail line, that may vary, but typically the most common originating mode of transport is going to be ground. They may ultimately use intermodal, which is crossing over from one mode to the next, if it is the most cost-effective mode, but typically it originates with a ground mode of transport. Now, obviously, the determining factors for which mode of transportation it really depends on the speed at which the carrier can deliver shipments, and also the cost associated with the mode of transport. Typically, the faster that goods are delivered, the greater the cost is for the shipper. Delivering products to customers in a timely and cost-effective manner drives a lot of different decisions, and in particular, it drives supply chain configuration decisions, such as where to source your raw materials or finished goods products from, and also where to locate your distribution facilities. So origin, that's just a physical location where a shipment originates from, and destination is the physical location where a shipment of cargo is delivered to. Okay, so now we're going to review the physical flow of material throughout the shipping workflow. The typical workflow for a manufacturer is to receive raw materials in, apply labor, equipment, other resources to the raw materials to generate finished goods, and then the finished goods are typically stored in inventory until an order is received from a customer. Distributors and 3PLs, they'll receive a material, often full containers of finished goods inventory, possibly perform some value-added services such as assembly and labeling, and then they store the material until it's ready to be shipped. Shipping is, in fact, an after-sales function. It's coordinated after a customer places an order, or in the case of a 3PL, the depositor of the goods sends a picking ticket. The typical physical workflow is to pick the product following the inventory allocation methods such as FIFO, first in, first out, last in, first out, or first expiry, first out. And then also the picking methodology deployed for a customer and or a product line such as by piece, by case, or even by pallet. The key objective for picking is to maximize productivity by minimizing travel, reduce cycle time, increase throughput, and ultimately to maximize picking accuracy so there's really no mistakes. The next step in the physical workflow is to pack the product into a container, apply the packing slips and any other shipping documentation required, such as hazardous material paperwork, return labels, and also apply carrier-specific labels and even UCC 128 labels if they are required for a specific customer. Packages are then sealed, and they may also be palletized and shrink wrapped to protect them while the product's in transit. The packing stage is typically performed close to shipping docks to minimize movement of product once it is ready to load. Packages and pallets are then loaded on the carrier's truck, and the carrier then assumes responsibility for delivery to the receiving party. Carriers may actually load and unload the product multiple times as the product crosses modes from truck to plane, rail, or vessel. In small parcel packages often processed through multiple sort facilities until the final mile delivery is actually performed. and postal consolidator programs such as UPS Mail Innovations and FedEx Smart Post. They've leveraged the U.S. Post Office's distribution network to perform the final mile delivery. All right, so now that we have a better appreciation for the physical flow of product, let's review the information flow that actually facilitates the movement of goods throughout the shipment workflow. First of all, the shipment details are provided to the carrier in one of several different forms. Information can be keyed into the carrier's website, into the carrier's system that they provide, uploaded through a web service via EDI or other methods that are available. I'll describe in greater detail what actual information is required to complete a shipment. Once all required information for a shipment has been uploaded to the carrier, the freight cost, tracking detail, and label data is returned back to their shipper. Shippers then close a manifest at the end of the day for parcel carriers. For LTL and truckload carriers, they schedule a pickup with the carrier. Carriers then provide tracking status as the shipment is en route to their customers, as well as confirmations and/or proof of delivery. Finally, carriers will invoice the appropriate party for the transportation fees. As previously mentioned, the most common originating mode of transport is ground transport via truck. Truck carrier shipments are categorized as either small parcel or motor freight. Small parcel carriers ship packages up to 150 pounds in weight and are commonly used for shipping direct-to-consumer shipments, which are usually referred to as B2C or business-to-consumer. If the small package within the weight threshold is being delivered, small parcel is likely to be the most cost-effective option. However, this is certainly not always the case. Shippers can consolidate multiple shipments into a much larger shipment and then ship via truckload or LTL and get a lower rate per pound of freight. The shipment's then routed to another facility where the product is then shipped via a different carrier for that final mile delivery to the end customer. This methodology is called zone skipping, and we'll come back to this in a moment. But let's get back to small parcel. Small parcel carriers offer different service levels, which ultimately determine their delivery commitment or the time in transit. They also offer many value-added services to assist shippers with distributing their products to their customers, such as providing insurance on the packages as they're in transit, providing greater visibility, and also confirmation services once product has been delivered. Small parcel has been dominated by three major carriers in the United States. The U.S. Postal Service, UPS, and FedEx are the big three in the U.S., and they have the most advanced distribution network and also the most advanced technological infrastructure. The big three parcel carriers in the U.S. actually employ over 1.2 million people, so they have quite a workforce. Although DHL was unsuccessful in their U.S. expansion strategy, they have a significant percentage of the global market share outside the U.S. In Canada, the dominant players are Canada Post, Purolator, Canpar, FedEx, UPS, and DHL. Europe's major players include TNT, La Poste, UPS, and FedEx. So who are the major players on a global scale in the parcel shipping industry? You're probably familiar with the first one, but it may surprise you. USPS, or United States Postal Service, is actually the #1 parcel carrier in the world based on 2009 revenues. They're followed by Deutsche Postal, better known as DHL, then followed by UPS, FedEx, France's La Poste, Japan Post, and then TNT, a European carrier. Many of these parcel carriers also offer other logistics services to supplement their revenues beyond just parcel delivery, including freight transport, customs brokerage, freight forwarding, and even third-party logistics from their storage facilities. An important distinction of parcel carriers is they offer service levels. A service level is effectively a delivery commitment or the amount of time a package will be in transit before it's delivered. Service levels range from same day to the next day, 2 to 3 day, or a ground service. The service level may be assigned by the customer or the shipper, depending on the relationship. As transit time shrinks, the rate will increase. And ground, probably the most common service level used, is the cheapest service option, and ground delivery commitments range from 1 to 7 days depending on the shipper's origin and the destination address. Many shippers will offer expedited services, but typically, of course, that will come with a premium for the more rapid delivery time frame. But often the ground service is their standard shipping method, and they'll define their delivery commitments based on the ground maps, which are published by their carriers. The ground map really depends on the shipper's location or their origin, and it defines the number of business days from their origin in which they can deliver packages to the lower 48 states. The ground map I've got listed here is actually for Columbus, Ohio. So in this case, I can ship via ground service packages within a 1 or 2 day delivery time frame to a pretty wide area. So in this case, I can select the ground service, avoid paying a premium for the 1 or 2 day services, and deliver packages within a very expedited time frame. Without a sophisticated and consistent rating process, shipping personnel are ultimately responsible for making the determination of which service level to select to meet a delivery commitment. So this is often a source of waste in organizations as they avoid using, or they forego an opportunity to use a ground service to meet a specific delivery commitment. Parcel carriers offer a wide assortment of value-added services for their shippers. The value-added services range from delivering shipments on Saturdays, insurance for packages as based on the actual value of the product within the actual package, confirmation of delivery to the recipient, proof of deliveries, collect on delivery, return services, white glove delivery, and many other services. Value-added services are billed as an additional fee on top of the standard rate. And lastly, the shippers really define during the shipping process, during the rating process, which value-added services they would like for a specific package. And oftentimes the customer can request specific services as well. All right, so how do rates actually work? How are they calculated? Rates are determined based on where the product is shipping from, so the point of origin, and where the product is shipping to, the final destination. Carriers publish their rates, and again, they're based on the zones and the way of the package, and they're also based on the service level that was selected for a package. So again, the golden rule is the shorter the time in transit, the higher the rate's going to be. Carriers will also add on surcharges. One is for an oversized package, so there's additional handling that's required for a package that weighs over a certain threshold, so they'll add on a surcharge for that. If they're delivering to a more rural or a remote location, they'll add on a delivery or an extended delivery surcharge. And this, their justification is they're delivering to a more remote location, and they just need to recoup their incremental costs for delivering in a sparsely populated region. They do update their rates quarterly and at the beginning of their fiscal year. Usually fuel surcharges are adjusted every week. And finally, I wanted to mention that rate negotiations is really critical for shippers. They'll often enlist the help of consulting firms to help them with renegotiating the rates with select carriers. They'll use their historical shipment data to help them negotiate rates to use a carrier exclusively or for certain regions. And FedEx and UPS are of course very competitive, and shippers are wise to negotiate with their carriers on their rates.